Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
Stay.
Good morning to you. This is Kay Adams with you till 12 on BBC Radio Scotland. It is Wednesday, September the 18th, 2024. 10 years ago today, of course, Scotland went to the polls to vote on independence. The Yes campaign failed to get over the line, but the First Minister at the time, Alex Salmond, still thinks it will happen.
Well, whether it's a referendum or not, I think Scotland will be independent in my lifetime.
Yep, Alex Salmond believes he will see independence in his lifetime. Do you think you will see independence in your lifetime? The SNP couldn't make the numbers add up in 2014. They still can't. You can't feed your family on hope. Keep your thoughts coming in, 80295. Also coming up.
Guess where I'm going? Just thought I'm just in the mood to stir up a bit of political trouble.
Oh, as if we didn't have enough political trouble. But Cara Vodeman is here to tell us why she is a woman on a mission.
1, 2, 3.
Wait. What's the first line again?
Help.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2.
Help!
No, wait.
Sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I need somebody. Help. Not just anybody.
Yes, you can get help from consumer rights expert Martin James. He is on a mission to make sure that you don't get ripped off. So if you paid good money and you've got a bad deal, Martin can help. Give him a call, 08085 92 95 00. You can text 80295. And here's this week's Humdrum Conundrum.
Am I wrong to fact check my sister during an argument?
Is everywhere on BBC Radio Scotland.
Yeah!
Freak out. You freak. Say she. Freak out. 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 Have you heard about the new dance craze? Listen to us, I'm sure you'll be amazed. Big fun to be had by everyone. It's up to you, sure they can be done. Young and old are doing it, I'm told. Just one try, and you too will be sold. It's called a freak, they're doing it night and day. Allow us, we'll show you the way. Freak out. You freak, say she. Freak out. 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 All that pressure got you down. Has your head spinning all around. Feel the rhythm, chant the rhyme. Come on along and have a real good time. Like the days of stopping up as a boy. Now we're free. Oh, what a joy. Just come on down to the fifth floor. Find a spot out on the floor. Freak out. You freak, say she. Freak out. Freak out. You freak, say she. Freak out. Freak out. You freak, say she. Freak out. All that pressure got you down, has your head spinning all around. Feel the rhythm, chant the rhyme. Come on along and have a real good time. Like the days of stomping with your boy. Now we're free. Oh, what a joy. Just come on down to the 54. Find a spot out on the floor. Let freak, say she, freak out. Freak out. 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 Let freak, say she, freak out.
Freak out. Freak out. You bet I'm going to freak out. She's back. Yeah.
I'm back, y'all.
Welcome back.
And that's a fact, y'all.
Morning to
Good
you.
morning, Karen. How are you?
I'm fine. What
I
lovely
am a
morning it
little
is.
bit freaked out because you're sitting there semi-dressed,
In
which
my
is a
summit.
bit disconcerting. We've got a vest and shorts on.
It's gorgeous out there. Cycled in, beautiful.
There's no excuse
Sorry
for
you're
that.
here
though.
for another
There's no
2 hours.
excuse for that.
It's clean.
It's clean.
There's no
clean.
stains.
Did you get that from Rabsy Nesbitt?
There's no holes in it yet.
Actually, I'm going to go gently on you
Why?
because I know this is a difficult day for you.
Pourquoi?
Because, you know, Tupperware.
No, give me the story.
Tupperware's going under.
Stop it.
I knew that would upset you.
Seriously.
I'm looking at Sue Elliott Nichols.
Actually, her face is more concerned than
Sorry,
mine.
Sue, have I upset you as well?
Why?
So, yeah, it's going into administration.
God.
Name of your Tupperware.
Oh, wow. I've still got a Christmas cake size box that I took from my mum's. Oh, my God, it's donkey's years old.
I know.
It's got a funny, slightly odd smell about it, but it's still nice.
No, I think we'll put that out there for people. What's your oldest bit of Tupperware?
Oh,
And
God.
what did you use it for? 80295. We're doing a quick segue.
Yeah.
Sue, what's your oldest bit of Tupperware, do you think?
Oh my goodness, I've still got my mum's Tupperware. I've still got that like vintage orange round bowl for your salad with the lid on top and the little sort of
Oh, yes.
presentation. I mean, this is like the day that Woolworths folded.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry to deliver this news to you both, ladies.
It's quite heartbreaking. My Christmas cake box is a pale blue one. And the top is, it's quite hard to get on, but I could never get rid of it now.
Yeah, well, there you go. You're going to be an Antique Roadshow in 10 years' time. God willing.
Right? Yes, it'll probably outlive me.
Anyway, I'm very, very sorry
Dear.
about this, to have delivered such dreadful news to you. But the good news is, lovely Lewis has just brought in my coffee. Thank you, lovely Lewis.
You don't think that's
very
a
nice.
ruse to just get people to buy it and then it'll come back under a different... No,
Who
guys.
knows? Who knows? But there you go. That is the news today.
Heck, you've put me off my stot.
Also, can I just say to you, don't you start getting a big head just because you're up just in the prime spot just after 10 o'clock. It's only because Carol Voderman can't make it until 10:30.
I'm hanging on then.
Don't get used to it, okay? Don't get used to it. Lovely Sue, how are you?
I'm very well. I am really quite upset about the Tupperware. I mean, I don't understand the logic behind that.
I don't know either. We will bring you more news as we get it, as they say.
It's those clip and fix things that have taken over, isn't it?
Don't
Sorry, can we
clip
have a whole segment on this?
Welcome to the WI Weekly, everyone. This is Kay Adams with Karen McKenzie and Sue Elliott Nichols. Right, okay, are you ready for the conundrum?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
Ready?
close. But as we've got older, we've become increasingly at loggerheads. This is due, in part, to the fact that we have very different worldviews, which can cause frequent arguments when we get together. The problem is, she quite often has the tendency to spew questionable facts to back herself up. I used to just roll my eyes and argue back, but recently I've become tired of it, and I've started to fact-check what she says as she says it. But instead of calming the situation down, it enrages her even more. She says it's patronising and belittling. But am I wrong to fact-check my sister during an argument?
Feel the tension in the room. That's a sitcom in the making, that one, isn't it? That's fabulous. I'm loving it.
Well, it is patronising, isn't it?
It is. Well, Karen, you've got 3 sisters.
Yes.
You know this territory.
I think, yeah. Well, do you know what? Without kind of hanging myself, there's so many folk that talk rubbish these days, isn't there?
Don't look at us, eh, Sue?
And
I mean, I'll say anything.
they know, and they say it out loud, and they just think it becomes the truth. And I think she's got to actually be responsible for what she kind of spouts, because it's just rubbish. And the thing is, some people, as soon as they kind of like put it out there, they actually believe it's the truth, and then they exaggerate it, and then before you know, it's just a lot of rubbish.
So you're supporting the fact-checky sister?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Otherwise, I mean, it just becomes, she'll just say anything, and then another person might just believe those stupid untruths.
But it doesn't do a lot for family relations, does it?
Well, having a sister...
It enrages her.
Well, how enraging is it for someone just to go, yeah, 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 full of rubbish, talking about any situation, just talking, I keep wanting to say this word, not rubbish, but...
Well, say it. Say as much as you like. It's fine. Crack on.
I might get put off the air.
Oh, no, don't say that.
No.
No.
So, I think she's quite right. Absolutely, I'm up there. Just point out. Otherwise...
But is it not a bit passive
aggressive?
Do you have to win every time, Karen? Can you not just let it go?
Oh, I'd like to see you letting it go. Frankly.
Don't turn it back on me. You're having... Oh, actually, we've got news in about Tupperware, people. Are you interested?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Despite attempts to freshen up its products in recent years and reposition itself to a younger audience, it's failed to stand out from competitors. Last week, the firm warned that it may go bust unless it could quickly raise new funds. The company's shares have fallen by more than 50% this week after reports it was planning to file for bankruptcy. After a brief surge in sales during the pandemic, as more people cooked at home, the firm saw demand continue to slide. The rising cost of raw materials, higher wage and transportation costs have also eaten into profit. It's not good news. It's not good news.
It could still be picked up by somebody else. They just have to do that click and fix thing.
Yeah, see, I just thought I would do that because I thought you might fact check me, Karen, if I didn't say something that was completely accurate. But
I know you're reading it from something. If you were just doing it off the top of your head, I would fact check you. Can't even say the word fact check you.
Sue,
fact check you.
The fact checking sister. Karen is supporting the fact checking.
I know it's quite hard to say.
What do you think?
It's a lot of facts. It's a lot of facts, isn't it? I was thinking about this. I mean, I do it. I spurt a lot of old nonsense all the time, and which is vaguely true, and a lot I've made up. So I think we all do it. And I think the trouble is, I totally get what Karen's saying. It's so annoying that somebody gives you facts that you're like, where have you got that from? But I think if you go away and fact check it, you're just like taking an annoying situation and adding another annoying level on top of it and like doubling the annoyance.
I don't think you're going away to check it. I think you're correcting her at the time.
You see, that's just doubling. That's just kind of like exhausting. I'm more of a fan of the kind of passive aggressive, like, is that a fact? I mean, we could role play. Karen,
no.
Let's. Okay.
Right.
Sue, just spout a load of rubbish. You and Karen are sisters. Off you pop, Sue.
Okay, so the thing is, Karen, that Donald Trump is actually quite right when he says that Kamala Harris is making up half the crowds. I mean, everybody knows that half.
Okay, so where do you get that from? What's your backup?
I read it. Actually, I read it. It came from the Times.
Right. No. It came from the Times. Well, that's quite hard to kind of... so I prefer if you got it from his website or his Twitter, whatever it is.
It doesn't actually... Does it matter? Does it matter? See, or the other thing that the sister could do is repeat the facts back in a robot voice.
Yes, I think that's good. But you know what I would say here? They clearly can't stand each other. I mean, this probably goes back to when one got a bike for Christmas and the other one got a pair of clackers.
Clackers, what's that?
Remember clackers?
Oh, castanets. Oh, no, clackers. Right.
Band.
Yeah, well, we're a bit younger than her, so she doesn't remember them. She was the ball and orange generation. So there is some deep-seated residual resentment here between these two. I would say they need to go into sibling counselling.
Oh, that's never going to work.
Out what's actually happening.
But what is behind somebody just spouting nonsense? Right, just opening their mouth and letting it go. What? I mean, why? Why would you? Just to get attention?
Well, yeah, it is for attention and it is for sort of external validation, isn't it? It's to be important. Would you agree, Sue?
Yeah, you see, and I think you could get much further on annoying her by saying, is that a fact? I wonder why you see the need to spurt facts that may not be true to me. Is it because I was the favourite when we were growing up? I mean, I think you can have fun with this. I think you can kind of wind her up in a much better way, less exhausting way than fact checking. Like,
well,
I think you're both troublemakers. Both of your approaches to this are going to result into one reaching out and taking lumps out the other one's hair and saying, you've always been a brat.
I certainly think if you can, don't shout back at her. Say it in a sort of calm, authoritative voice, and that will definitely needle her. And maybe if she knows she's going to get needled, she'll not come away with such rubbish the next time. But it's it's when aye.
Go on.
No, I'm so sorry. Right, all I'm saying is, if you've got an audience, it's dangerous to have somebody just spouting nonsense. And
but
there's
she's
nothing
your
more
sister,
frustrating.
you know what? And if she's just doing it with, what she says is not your responsibility. If she wants to go out into the world and spout nonsense, then let her go on and spout. And in terms of her conversation with you, just let it go.
When did you start becoming a nicer person?
I don't know. Maybe it just happened this morning, but it's just listening to you two, you think, well, that's not going to take the heat out of the situation.
Yeah.
They've clearly got an issue between them. Let it go. See, there you go.
No, I think
there's a nice person inside me.
You're spouting nonsense now.
Do you want to hear about Tupperware?
Yeah.
Stuart and Milton of Campsie, our Tupperware juice jug. My wife got it 41 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And my two boys, 30 and 33, still slag it each time they visit. It's become iconic. Long live Tupperware, says Stuart. I think we need to get that on a T-shirt, girls.
Yeah,
Someone else said, I think you've discovered Tupperware's problem. People buy it and it lasts for 50 years, so they never have to buy it again. It's true.
That's so true, isn't it?
Built-in failure.
I know.
Oh, my goodness. Well, anyway...
Yeah, this is their PR campaign. They also, I don't agree about the young people thing. My husband sells collectibles to young kind of hipster cool people. They love a bit of 70s Tupperware with the brown and orange stars on the top and the old flat. They love it.
Sue, you're spouting rubbish. I'm going to have to fact check you on that one. I'm afraid.
And I'm just sitting here loving what you're saying, so I'm not even listening. Well,
you know what? I actually am, because I think one person's bought it.
There you go. A demonstration of what we're talking about. Sue, lovely to see you as ever. Go cherish your Tupperware. Give it an extra little polish. And 80295 is the text number. Do you bother fact-checking your tiresome sister who keeps coming out with a whole load of rubbish, or do you let it go? Get in touch. And
you could let it.
Also, you can get in touch with your oldest piece of Tupperware.
Yeah.
I like this one.
Have you got an old one? An old piece of Tupperware?
No, I don't really.
No.
Actually. No.
I bet you have.
I'm not into that cooking stuff.
No.
80295. Ta-da!
Jerry.
We're the new show on the air, and we know we're not the same. To be your number one, well, that's our major aim. What makes this show stand out? When the record has stopped playing, when he speaks into the mic, you understand what he is saying. The Chris Moyle Show.
Lots to come today, including...
I need somebody help, not just anybody help.
Of consumer rights expert Martin James. He's on a mission to make sure that you don't get ripped off, so give him a call. 08085 92 95 00. Any problems with something that you paid good money for, Martin can give you good advice. You can text him on 80295. And about to land.
Guess where I'm going? Just thought I'm just in the mood to stir up a bit of political trouble.
Yes, it's Carol Voderman, and she is up right after this from Paul. Tupperware out there, haven't you? You've got some blooming old Tupperware. Susan has been using her Tupperware jug with lid for 40 plus years for keeping water in the fridge. Her son says on numerous occasions when he comes home to visit, time you got rid of that. She's got long life in it, says Susan. He will inherit it one day. Is that quite good? You're going to inherit the Tupperware jug. I'd be excited about that. Isabel in Erskine, she's also gutted. But you can still buy vintage Tupperware from eBay. She's got a little wee brown and cream bread bin that must be at least 40 years old. There must have been a rush on 40 years ago that everyone out and bought Tupperware, but you better hang on to it, folks. It's going to be a heirloom. 80295 for your cherished vintage Tupperware and what you use it for. And also get your thoughts in on Karen's conundrum today. Should you really bother fact checking that very annoying sister of yours who spouts a load of nonsense? As someone who very much does not spout any nonsense at all, he's here with the facts, he's here to help. It is Martin James, our consumer expert. Good morning, Martin.
Good morning, Kay. I was wondering where you were going then for a minute.
Oh, pulled it right back, Martin. Pulled it right back, yes. Bit of sadness in the studio today about Tupperware, really. I mean, you might be too young, Martin, to have that sort of affectionate feel for it, are you?
Oh, you can't see me blush on the radio, Kay. Of course I'm not, no. My mum actually has some Tupperware that I'm going to inherit that's from the 70s that's actually older than me, which is a minor miracle. And it's a brown colander and it's indestructible. In the event of an all-out nuclear holocaust, there'll be cockroaches, Cher, and that colander.
And the brown colander. Oh, God, that is very good indeed. So, listen, I wanted to throw a little personal one at you. This is a friend of mine who was telling me this story. It was quite upsetting at the time. So, unfortunately, a family member of his had died, and he was given the task of sorting out the admin. And we actually did an item on this a wee while back. Sadman, I think, is the kind of name it's given, yes. Martin. And one of the contracts that he had to sort of cancel was with a very well-known phone provider. And so he went on the phone to, the call centre, whatever, and they said, well, I'm sorry, we're going to have to charge you because the particular contract was for a fixed term and there was a penalty charge for terminating the contract. And he explained the circumstances that his family member had in fact died, and they were unbending, not particularly sympathetic, and said, well, that's irrelevant. You are going to have to pay the charge, and if you don't have the money now, then we'll take it out of the estate. Is that just the way it goes?
Do you know, it's not often I'm lost for words, Kay, but that is so outrageous and so totally unacceptable. I'm absolutely flabbergasted. I'm even more astounded that they would actually say it to somebody. Exit fees are usually payable on mobile phone and broadband contracts for leaving early, and they're very contentious because they're outrageous. But there are certain sets of circumstances where they should absolutely not apply at all, and this is one of them. I would certainly take this case to the Communications Ombudsman. It's free to do that. You can bring a complaint on behalf of an estate as well. But I would ask for compensation as well, because it's absolutely despicable to suggest that that's the case.
So is there legislation around this, or is it just sort of code of practice?
Well, that's the really, really good question. There's very rarely legislation that's that specific. But as a general rule, it's considered good industry practice in the eventuality of the death of an individual to not apply needless fees. It's very clear. We have this problem as well on a much more minor level when people move to other areas and they can no longer get mobile phone reception or broadband, for example, so they can't use the service. And even then, they'll try to apply fees. But this is one of those sets of circumstances where if a business doesn't have a policy for somebody who dies mid-contract, then A, it should do, and B, it absolutely should not be billing any additional charges. There is no excuse for it whatsoever, and I will be telling the regulator Ofcom about this when I chat to them later in the week.
OK, well, really interesting to get your thoughts on that, and very strong thoughts on that. I mean, unfortunately, the amount of money is not particularly significant. It's the damage is kind of done in having to have that conversation and get that reaction at obviously what is a very vulnerable time in somebody's life. But it's good to know from you, Martin, that you feel that is unacceptable and there is something that you can follow up on that. Martin, as ever, very clear advice. So you'll be taking calls from 11 o'clock or just after 11 o'clock, but the lines are open now. Martin James, our consumer rights expert. If you paid good money and you've got a bad deal, he'll do his level best to sort you out. And every week we get somebody saying thank you, Martin. So your results speak for themselves. 08085 92 95 00 is the number to call. You can also leave a voice note message on that, or indeed a WhatsApp message, and you can also text 80295. Martin, thank you. Cherish your brown colander, and we'll speak to you in about half an hour.
Got something to say? Text.
You are listening to Mornings on BBC Radio Scotland.
Broadcasting across the United Kingdom and the world.
My goodness, Mick Gordon in Blantyre has taken the tone of the conversation right down. He says you don't need to buy Tupperware. I keep my old Chinese takeaway container. It's not the same, Mick. It is not the same. We're wanting vintage Tupperware stories this morning, 80295. Now, Carol Voderman has been a familiar face on our television screens for more than 40 years with a host of high-profile presenting roles, perhaps most notably I'll Have a Seat, Please, Carol Countdown. In recent years, however, she has turned her attention to the state of our politics and is now a self-professed woman on a mission to save broken Britain. That is the title of her new book, which I have in my hot and sweaty palm, and she's here to tell us all about it. Morning, Carol.
Hello, you.
You all right?
Yeah, I used to go to Tupperware parties in the 70s.
I knew you'd have a story. I knew you'd have a story.
Well, but that was the most exciting thing that my mother ever did, I think, in the 1970s. And people would go and they'd buy like little Marks and Spencer's little things to eat and all of that. And then it was, the Tupperware. And I remember having a big Tupperware box with my cookery items in for my O-level cookery.
Right, okay.
And that did though. And you could make your own lollipops. Do you remember those?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You get your diluting juice and you put it in the wee thing, stick the stick in the freezer. Oh, them were the days. But listen, we live in very changed days, don't we? And it is very much exercising you, which I think people are probably aware of over the last couple of years. And I mean, I laughed, and your book is very fast and furious and funny. And I'm just looking at the book jacket here, and you describe yourself as an old bird with an iPhone who's been on the telly for 40 years, 63 and post-menopause. Is this not the time, Carol, that you're supposed to calm down a little bit, quieten down, just fade into the background, have a wee rest?
Speaking like a newspaper editor there.
I thought I'd hand you that one.
Yes. Now, pat all women on their heads when they get to 50, and you've done your time now, you've given the children, and that's enough, and on you go. And what do you actually know about anything? You're a woman, and all of that. No, that's not going to happen. And I think with this generation, as you know only too well, Ms. Kay Adams, I think with the first generation who've managed to have the advantages that older generations of women fought for, and we're pushing through to fight on behalf of the younger generations now, and I'm very happy to do so.
You have had a bit of that though, haven't you? And if I just follow through to what you finally said, you don't give a flying fig.
No, I don't give a flying fig, and I've been attacked over the last 2 years by a lot of very angry Conservative ministers with language that they shouldn't be using online. And I've heard all sorts of stories. I've had threatening legal letters from a number of Tories. I've had amounted to nothing. And also particularly from the far right, because there's this tie-up between the bullying of women by the likes of Andrew Tate. You have the likes of Tommy Robinson, and then you have certain people who are promoting the Reform Party, and you see it online where they're kind of all tie up together. But I am here without apology. I'm very proud to have demonstrated and shown the evidence to a lot of people online, particularly because obviously the more conservative newspapers wouldn't print it, but to show people the evidence of a corrupted party really, and where contracts had gone and so on, VIP Lane and in other cases. So
that was the kind of matter that really kind of forced you into the public domain, because I'm sure you've had your own political views, from very, very early doors.
I'm pretty centre, to be perfectly honest, Kay. I'm quite like, I like that. And when I'd worked with David Blunkett when he was Home Secretary, that was about maths. And when he was education, then he was Home Secretary, about the protection of children online, and sat on a task force there to make the world's first law which made grooming a child online a criminal act. That hadn't been the case before, so it was about 20 years ago. And then, so I've sort of been on the outskirts, but working in a particular arena, if you like, of interest and passion for me. But then a couple of years ago, it was just really the utter fury that millions of us felt about the VIP lane and how
this was PPE in the COVID pandemic.
And obviously there was Partygate, which was just disgraceful. But then to know that these people who had been referred by only Conservative MPs, ministers and peers to this VIP lane, which gave a company 10 times the chance of being awarded a contract. They were paid almost twice as much money per item as others, and so on, that this had been going on and that they'd been trying to hide all of this evidence. They denied that this thing even existed. That was when my fury bubble burst.
But you've carried on from there, and all of those PPE contracts I think are still under investigation. I don't know if there has been a kind of final report on what did go on there, but I know that's very much the sort of the matter that got you into this. But then you've continued in this, and it's interesting to hear you say that you would describe yourself as centrist, because in the last 2 years you've been very sort of anti-Conservative government. We have a new government now, so a lot of people would frame you not as centrist but just anti-Tory. Where do you stand politically?
No, I was anti-corruption.
Okay, that's a good distinction.
And anti the abuse of a population, really. I mean, the last 14 years have been an utter disgrace. And I'm talking as somebody, obviously, who lives in England, but is from Wales. So I can't comment particularly about the Scottish politics, because that isn't an area that I know as well. But the austerity years and the lies that have been told over those years are just baffling, and nothing works as it used to work. And the injustice and inequality has done nothing but grow and bloom under the last 14 years of Conservative rule. And that's what I rail against. And if Labour start doing the same things, I mean, like the scrapping of the winter fuel allowance in England and Wales for the majority of pensioners was the wrong thing to do. So, I do raise my objections very vocally on those actions. But really, and it's in the book, it's about the codes of conduct are not strong enough. There is no barrier to conflicts of interest. That the openly corrupted system of the House of Lords, where we have this ridiculous case where it is the second biggest parliamentary chamber in the world, and it's the only one in the world where the House of Lords is meant to be a revising chamber for laws to be passed, but it's bigger than the elected one. I mean, it's just absurd. So that's stuff I talk about, reform of the House of Lords. True levelling up is to get out of the Westminster bubble and for Parliament to have 5 buildings built around the country in different cities where they would sit, because they fundamentally operate with a school calendar year of 3 terms. 1 term a year is spent outside of London, because everything is concentrated down in London to the detriment of the rest of the nation.
I mean, you do have a plan for change in your book, and you go through various different elements that you would change. That the House of Lords is one of them. But I mean, I don't know if you would agree. The theme running through a lot of your plan is the restoration of trust, and that is definitely something that's been discussed in the recent years, that there seems to be certainly an attenuation of trust between the public and our elected politicians. How do we get that back?
Well, you're absolutely right, and I do talk about that. And we know that distrust in politicians generally has never been lower, or rather the trust has never been lower. And only 52% of those who could have registered and voted in the July elections, when there was a lot of fury by many millions, only 52% still voted. So the disconnect has never been greater than it is now. So the book is aimed really at people who are always told that politics is not for them. You stay in your lane. We just need your vote once every 5 years. That's good enough for us. And then let's leave it to us because we know better than you. And I want to encourage people to vote and to understand exactly how more than 3/4 of every decision you take in your life from now, in the past, and moving forward is governed by politics. And so those are the people I'm talking to in the book.
But I think the other aspect of that is that a lot of people feel, well, they're all the same. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I vote because they are all the same. So people feel powerless. Do you feel as if you have power? And I don't mean in a kind of egotistical sense, but, you know, given that a lot of people feel powerless and there's no point, have you put yourself into this position at some cost to yourself to try and change the flow?
I think I have power. I think with a number of followers, if you like, there is certainly a chance to show evidence, really, and data. And I was part of a volunteer set of people who set up a tactical voting website called stopthetories.vote. And that I found fascinating. So where it was likely, it was all statistically worked out. You type your postcode in, and we had just under 2 million postcodes typed in, and we had no money. Literally everyone's a volunteer. All the techies were volunteers with full-time jobs, and we had no advertising whatsoever. So this is the power of social media. So we managed to get that many people who were obviously actively interested in the tactical vote and to get rid of the Tories. And we know that that had an influence, along with obviously other tactical voting websites and so on. It had an influence on the final result, definitely. There were many other factors that had an influence, but it just showed. We were always saying you shouldn't have to tactically vote. You really, really shouldn't. You know, I'm very much for proportional representation, which obviously you have in Holyrood. And also a thing that people never discuss, which is mandatory voting. And in Australia, they've had it for over 100 years. And in 1 in 6 countries in the world, there is mandatory voting. And the sort of penalty if you don't vote varies from literally nothing to a small fine. And in Australia, where they've had it, they often have polls as to, you know, should we carry on with this? And almost 90% of the people say, yes, we should. So it's interesting when it's already part of your culture, then it's normalised.
Yeah, well, as you say, it creates a culture that this is what you do. But just to be clear, if in 5 years' time you felt that the current Labour government had acted in a way that you found offensive or unacceptable, you would be behaving exactly the same way?
I don't know how 2029 will transpire. My greatest concern is that when the distrust in politicians grows, when this disconnect grows because the Westminster bubble keeps all power within themselves and people are less interested in them, it opens a vacuum for the far right to come in, and that really concerns me. So the next 4 years are going to be very interesting, but I have some ideas.
I'll bet you have. I mean, the most obvious question to ask you, Carol, is would you stand for election yourself?
No, I have been asked by a number of parties, and I said no, because one, I think you should live where an MP should live in their own constituency. And we have a very fine new MP where I live in Bristol Central, who's Carla Denyer, who's a new Green MP. All our councillors in that constituency in the local council are all Green as well. It's a bit of a republic of Bristol, if you've never been to that city. But no, and people have talked about other offers, if you like, and I'm not remotely interested in that. I think I rage against this system where members of Parliament and so-called lords and ladies can behave in a disgraceful manner and nothing happens. There is no penalty for their actions, which in normal life there are penalties for. So that's what I rage against, and I will not become a part of that. I want to show people how wrong it is.
So you're not going to put yourself up for election, that's unlikely, but you have very much put your head above the parapet, and you've been very vocal in various aspects of public life that you take issue with. What's the end game? What would look like success then?
Success for me, it's a good question, would look like more people becoming engaged. And what I want to concentrate on next year is getting millions of women together as one voice, because I think women forget the power that they have. We are half the voters, and there are all sorts of things that we can demand, and we still have time to demand it from this government. And if they don't do it, we can demand it from others who might propose certain matters for more safety for women and girls.
Well, we will certainly be hearing a lot more from you in the future, Carol. I know that. But the book is called Now What? On a Mission to Fix Broken Britain by Carol Voderman, and it is out now. Lovely to speak to you, Carol.
Thank you. Thanks, Kay.
Hey, let's hear it for Family Feud. Family Feud now 5 nights every week.
Well, I've been waiting for that.
5 times more feuding.
We will play.
5 times more fighting.
We're in a hurry, aren't we?
5 times more fun. You gotta go to the bathroom? And 5 times more excitement.
And it's America's most popular game show starring Richard Dawson tonight at 7:30 here on Channel 4.
Now you have the opportunity to watch Family Feud 4 times a day on WXLV ABC 45.
It's just coming up to 10 to 11. Kay Adams with you till 12. I'm looking forward to this morning, I tell you.
These wooden shutters are giving me life. These blackout blinds are serving. Pop off, Queen. These fabrics are very demure, very mindful.
It's the latest trend on TikTok, but what on earth is it all about? We're going to find out next. And
am I wrong to fact check my sister during an argument?
Oh, that's today's humdrum conundrum. Karen says, fact check away, pull them up on it, don't let them spout a load of rubbish. I think actually Sue Elliott-Nichols probably agreed with her at the end of the day, just in a different way. But let's have your thoughts on our humdrum conundrum. 80295 is the text number, and I don't know whether it's going to be overtaken by a Tupperware avalanche here. Lots of people getting in touch with the little bit of Tupperware that they love from back in the day. Shauna says, I've got a small, square, pale blue box with a clear lid that I took my packed lunch to school in the 60s, and I'm 70 now. My mum still uses one of the bowls, pink, for her muesli. People get attached to their Tupperware. 80295. Hold on to it tight, folks, because they've gone bust.
Ride, get on your pony and ride.
Motion of my body right next to yours. Can you dig it? Smile when it's time for me to lock on to a certain kind of direction. Yeah, I like to do it with perfection. Deeper into imagination, you know you want to. Girl, we don't seem to have no complications. Yeah, I feel a great sensation. We must be where the devil is. Girl, it's getting pretty hot. We don't even know what time it is. Ride the pony, girl. Girl, let me see you ride. Ooh, to the music of a superstar in the morning. Laugh to the sound of all that's good and fine. Pretty mama, dream, and I hope it's all about me and you and everything we're gonna do. Smile, love, baby, pretty baby, mama, baby,
Here on the old Tupperware conversation, somebody saying I've still got Tupperware serving spoons that click together to make spaghetti tongs. That is genius. That is absolute genius. Bought in 1979. There you go. 80295 for your I Love My Tupperware stories. I can say this. I don't have to say other kind of containers are available because unfortunately they're going bust. Now, I don't want to be getting old here. I might lose aura points. But there is a lot of chat about a new marketing trend. And it is slaying. Let's call it Gen Z brain rot. Very demure, very mindful. Ideal for a brat summer. I'm talking rubbish, I know. I'll let social media and marketing expert Finn Wycherley explain. Good morning, Finn.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can I just say, my 17-year-old daughter wrote that. I haven't a clue what it means. I said to her last night, can you write me something that sounds kind of Gen Z-ish? And she did. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we all have to rely on the younger generation to keep us right? Because every generation has their own slang. They've got their own lingo. So it behooves all of us old dears to keep up with it all.
I know, but the kind of slightly embarrassed manner in which I read that out, I think characterises this new sort of marketing trend, doesn't it?
Yeah, so there's a really fun kind of viral theme that's going around at the moment where, you know, even if you're selling roller blinds or showing people around a show home, they're deliberately getting older folk to actually do the tour in Gen Z lingo, and by their blank looks and stares into the camera, it's quite obvious it's done in a way to kind of be hilarious. So loads and loads of brands are jumping on that particular theme and getting a lot of virality, which is a fun part of marketing, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's definitely working. We've also got Zara McIntosh with us, who's a content creator. Morning, Zara.
Good morning.
Good morning. Are you just taking the mickey out of us oldies?
Honestly, I think it's funny. Like, your intro made perfect sense. I honestly don't think we're taking the mick out of you. I think we're just giving you information that makes perfect sense to us, but no one else. So it almost just feels like this big open secret.
Yeah, I mean, so is this to appeal to a younger generation or an older generation? That's what I can't work out.
I think it's almost is, yeah, opening things up to a younger generation. Like things like the Royal Armouries, I can't say I would typically be engaged with a full video about them, but it's a good way for them to connect with the younger audience because they're giving us information that might typically have been boring or not very interesting, but they're giving us in a way that we understand and it's almost funny. So yeah, I think it is to the younger audience to almost engage them with things they wouldn't typically watch.
Yeah, because Finn, that's what's interesting, that the brands that have decided to adopt this, as Zara says, are kind of more traditional and conservative brands, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. They've obviously got some young people on the team to alert them to the trends that are happening. I mean, I do workshops with the Edinburgh Chamber of Commerce, for example, and we do workshops all about helping businesses understand how to be able to jump on these kind of trending themes. I mean, I'm not ever going to say that those particular companies are going to do this indefinitely. You know, it's just a trend at the moment, and then next week there'll be another trend that they could take an opportunity of going viral with. So it's just a bit of lighthearted fun, unless, of course, you are deliberately targeting Gen Z people, then you have to be a lot more authentic about how you put that content together.
Yeah. This word authentic comes up time and time again. Zara, what do we mean by that?
I think authentic does mean it feels natural to whoever's made it and it comes across natural to whoever's watching it. And that is something, these videos, they evidently are not authentic, but I think that's where the comedy comes in, because we know it's not authentic.
Mm-hmm. But is it difficult to get it right? Because presumably it could also be really cringe.
Yeah, it absolutely could be. And I think it's cringe if it's not done correctly. I feel like if you only tap into it a little bit, then it comes across cringe, because then you've not really done a full job of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how quickly? I mean, Finn was just saying this isn't going to stay forever. I mean, how long is it going to stay? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? I mean, you guys have to move so fast.
I think if I saw it now, it's almost not funny anymore. Trends move so fast. I think this is already done. I honestly think it's done.
Oh, really? It's gone. What's next?
Not done as in it's not going to surface anymore, but I think it's had its peak and it's on the way down now, because trends move so fast.
Wow. I mean, Finn, how fast?
Yeah, it could literally be a couple of days, couple of weeks, basically. You know, you have to be very sensitive to, if you want a post to go viral, you've got to catch the wave when it's growing as opposed to when it's on decline. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses catch on to, let's do something that was trending like 5 years ago. And it's like, everybody's like, guys, you're just delulu.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's say in 2 or 3 weeks' time, if somebody creates a new piece of content along this kind of model, the chances are, Zara, you'll be looking at it and think, oh God, sorry, too late.
Yeah, you'd definitely be giving everybody the ick.
Oh, right, okay. We're still using that word, are we? Yeah. I'm just looking at a time. We're short on time, but I'm interested on your thoughts, both of you, on Kamala Harris's social media campaign. I think there's a lot of attention on that. Obviously, she's trying to attract a younger audience. She's still got, I don't know, is it 50 days to the election? So time for at least 6 trends to pass through. Do you think that's working, Zara?
I think so, yeah. I see her a lot coming up on my social medias, and I feel quite connected to her in the sense I feel like she understands my age, like my age group, like my generation, and I think that is through her use of social media strategy and the way she's engaging with these trends.
So that feels authentic, does it?
I think it does feel authentic to her. I think like it does seem authentic because she seems like she actually understands what she's saying. I think it all comes back to that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's certainly been a phenomenon of that campaign. Whether or not it will deliver the result that she wants, we'll just have to wait and see. Zara, thank you very much indeed. That's Zara McIntosh, content creator, and thanks also to Finn Wycherley, who's a social media and marketing expert. Right, we're coming up. Got a bad deal and you need a bit of advice on how to make things right, then call Martin. 08085 92 95 00 is the number. You can leave a voice note on there or a WhatsApp message. You can also text us on 80295. And as Instagram announces new privacy measures for teens, should parents take responsibility for their kids' safety on social media?
Here we go with more Epic Radio.
Telephone on BBC Radio Scotland.
Karen McKenzie in the studio after this. Let's have your thoughts on our humdrum conundrum. 80295. That was your fault. You were keeping me talking there. I'm usually poised and ready to respond, and you're yabbing away in my ear. All rise.
I've never seen you move so quickly.
My, what a fright I got.
You don't normally react like that.
I know, the old pacemaker got a jolt there. Anyway, the Court of Karen is back in session. Well, kind of back in session because, well, of course, we're supposed to hear your verdict on this week's conundrum, but all we're talking about is Tupperware. That was my fault.
I mean, it's a good one, though, isn't it?
It is a good one. It is a good one. The emotion stirred up by Tupperware.
Well, I can relate to that. You're missing a trick there, not having any Tupperware.
Well, listen, let's get the conundrum done.
Any point? Yes.
And then let's talk Tupperware. So let's remind everyone of, can I say that word as often as I have?
Well, they're going down the tubes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Anyway, here's the humdrum conundrum.
Yeah.
My sister and I have never really been close, but as we've got older, we've become increasingly at loggerheads. This is due, in part, to the fact that we have very different worldviews, which can cause frequent arguments when we get together. The problem is, she quite often has the tendency to spew questionable facts to back herself up. I used to just roll my eyes and argue back, but recently I've become tired of it, and I've started to fact-check what she says as she says it. But instead of calming the situation down, it enrages her even more. She says it's patronising and belittling. But am I wrong to fact-check my sister during an argument?
Well, you said no, fact check away, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Otherwise, she's just going to keep on spouting rubbish.
See, the thing is, I just think, well, you can do it, but what is it going to achieve?
Satisfaction in my side.
Well, okay, that's absolutely fine. Well, like I say, because we started talking about Tupperware, all people want to really get in touch with is the Tupperware stories, which is fine.
Yeah.
But we do have someone supporting you.
My conundrum has suffered.
Yes, your conundrum has suffered. And this is, Fee, you've probably got this one saying it's always correct to correct grammar, likewise facts.
Yes, grammar is something.
But that's what I was going to say. I'm not sure that correcting grammar is a good thing anymore.
Do you mean when somebody's speaking or somebody's writing it?
Well, in any sense, really, because I just think it makes you come across as a right smart aleck, and people might feel belittled by it. And so similarly, this might be the case with the facts thing. They might just feel belittled by it.
No, there's a difference. I can see what you're saying with the grammar, because then it comes across as you being superior. I'm not saying that you are. Okay. And you would seem superior, but with like a story and you're just talking rubbish or you've not got your facts, and you just think that's dangerous, actually, because somebody less knowledgeable than me or you, whatever, might be listening to that and think, oh, right, well, I'll just go and repeat that. And before you know, it's blown out of proportion.
Well, I don't know if that wouldn't make you feel quite superior as well. This is somebody saying, this one has just sneaked in here. Fact checking, it's from JJ, sucks oxygen out of the room. And who's to say it's correct anyway? Argue your corner. either agree or disagree. Would anyone dare check her facts? You, that is.
No, I think that's
and
tricky.
also says, I hope your oatcakes are safe after the death of Tupperware. Do you keep your oatcakes in your Tupperware?
You see, I'm probably guilty for Tupperware's downfall.
You are, because you use wee plastic bags, don't you?
No. I tried that once, but they ended up just a mess, a crumbling mess. I think I was taking them to
that
you.
was the ones you gave me.
I think you just had to hold the bag up to your mouth.
Yeah,
scoop them in.
Poured it in. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Didn't choke you though.
Just on this, Anne says, keep agreeing with your sister. It'll take the wind out of her sails. See, that's a good technique. Sue's fond of the passive aggressive approach.
But then you're just fueling it, and then she's like got centre stage, and she'll just carry on, and it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger.
You're never going to win. Shall we talk Tupperware?
Yeah.
You have no idea how excited. Did you know that you could get serving spoons that click together to make spaghetti
I heard
tongs?
that.
Is that good?
Do you know what? I think I might have something similar that a friend Linda gave me for the camper van.
Ooh.
That belonged to her mum, who threw nothing out at all. And she gave me a series of bowls with plastic tops and beautiful colours, and they're very retro. So I've got them in the camper.
There you go.
Which, yeah, and I think it did include the click, the fork, the knife and the spoon.
I'd like to get hold of those.
Would you now?
Moira says she was working in Canada when she got engaged in 1968. One of my colleagues gave an engagement shower for me. Oh, them were the days. Remember, all the presents were sort of lined out around the house. Do you remember that?
What happens if it didn't go ahead?
Yeah, well, I know. And the gifts were all Tupperware.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Lots of duplicates. That's better than toasters.
I know. Well, they say it doesn't matter if you have a duplicate Tupperware. You just go, I've got two. It's marvellous.
Absolutely. You fill them with brambles at this time of year and put them in the freezer.
Yes, that's always what I do. And she says much of it is in good condition. I'm still using it. It's
That's
a record.
brilliant. You see, that is why you were right. That's why they've gone downhill, isn't it?
Because they last too long.
They last too long. They do have a wee bit of a fusty smell.
It's called baked-in obsolescence.
Oh, am I getting muddled up with Bakelite?
I don't know.
Just
But
when
you're
you
really
say
going
baked.
back now. We're back another set.
I love that as well.
Cameron from Wishaw says, I inherited my granny's wee Tupperware butter dish. Used it for years, multiple purposes. Not only is it great for butter and cheese with a self-sealing lid. Very good lid, very good lid.
Yes.
I've used it for mixing up grout for tiling, keeping loose change in.
Dear. All right.
It's, now wait for this, its current indispensable use is collecting the dog's urine samples when I go to the vet.
Too far?
Sad to hear of their demise. See, that's how versatile.
Leak-proof.
That is how versatile that they are.
I hope you sterilise that dish after every use.
Yeah, and Watty in the Black Isle says, my wife, who's 61, is still using her mum's Tupperware. Claire also used to be a Tupperware salesperson.
You see, this is brilliant, isn't it? But I wonder if they're listening to this, and I'm sure they are, somebody from Tupperware, to know that they've just made them too well. And you know, with these other click and fixes, the fix bits that click sometimes break off. I've got a container that's only got 2 bits.
Oh, right, okay, so you didn't have that with the old Tupperware.
No, and that's why they've lasted.
Watty also says, all nicely labelled.
Oh,
see, that was good when you put the little label on it. That was even better.
Right.
Here's my favourite. 2 more, and then we've got to go. Right. Doreen from the Scottish Borders. 41 years ago, my auntie gave me a Tupperware salad spinner.
Oh, that's what? Did Sue mention that as well
that.
before? Yeah.
Colander as an engagement present. You pop it in. You pop in wash lettuce, spin the handle. It dries off the leaves. Great, but I don't use it as my aunt did. She used to spin her wash tights in hers.
That's genius, isn't it?
That's what Doreen said. And this one here. My mum.
That's such a good idea, sorry, because they just get tangled up. Remember the days that you'd put them in the washing machine? They would just get tangled up round everything.
Doreen's auntie's a genius. And this one here, my mum still has a lot of Tupperware that we use. Wait for this. These are my favourite words that I've uttered today. The Party Susan flower tubs.
Oh, I've not heard of them.
The Party Susan?
No, I've not heard of
For
that.
God's sake, you haven't lived. The Party Susan flower tubs, the big biscuit box, as well as 2 long clear boxes with a blue lid and a green lid.
Oh, no, I don't know that at all.
Used to have tumblers, plates and bowls as well when growing up.
Is that right? Like big daisies or something?
That was a Tupperware rich family, that was.
Oh, so they were actually Tupperware?
Yes.
Just that sort of version of...
They had the full set.
Wow.
Yep. She probably had 3 engagement parties, I think. It never went.
What never
through.
went? That's what to do. That's the way to do it.
Anyway, that's
been a joy.
That's been lovely, hasn't it?
Nice chat.
There you go. And I'm glad to see that you've covered up that simmet of yours.